So, welcome to today's roundtable on customer experience, a topic that's become very crucial in today's fast-paced world. So, I'm your host for today. I'm Mathangi, and we have a wonderful round of speakers here. So, I'll just quickly introduce all of them. So, we have Rakeeb. Hi, Rakeeb. Good evening.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Hari. Hi,
Hello.
Jeri. And hi, Bharath.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us today. So we'll just start the discussion with a very foundational question that I want to ask all of you. So, what does customer experience mean to each of you? So, I think, Rakeeb, we'll start with you.
Awesome. I know there is this textbook definition of customer experience being this touch point or sum total of the touch points of all the impressions a brand might give out to a customer. But I think to me it is a lot more about setting realistic expectations, especially if you're a brand, if you're looking at a long-term survival. All of these touch points should set up those realistic experiences in terms of the prices that you talk about, in terms of the help that you provide to a user to get started with with your product and everything. Because eventually, if you keep setting up unrealistic expectations, the brand is gonna fumble down in a couple of years. So it's always better to set realistic expectations and then go on with it. So to me, that's a large part of what I at least aim to put out in terms of customer experience. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Hari, from you.
Okay, so I think Rakeeb stole some thunder. So now I'm thinking what exactly to say. But I feel that customer experience is at the very heart of business growth itself. Like for example, I feel that even let's say we develop a product and let's say the product is in a development scale and it has some anomalies or whatever it is. But when different departments provide a consistent experience to the customer around that product all the time, like it aligns with his point. So with that, I think the customer will trust us. And once they trust us and we keep consistently providing that experience, and I think it has changed from customer experience being only constrained to, for example, previously we used to say customer service department. So it's not constrained only to the customer service team. The customer service team is a part of the customer experience. Now I think even the product developer, the customer success person, the salesperson, everybody, the way they interact with the customer, it forms a whole. And that together forms the customer experience, and it has to be consistent. So it's not very easy to maintain that consistency across departments. So it has to be built in the company's culture itself. So I would say, yeah, in one line, customer experience is the heart of business growth itself.
Very true. Very true. Over to you, Jeri.
Yeah, so I think Hari and Rakeeb went more of an company side of customer experience. I'll see from an outsider perspective. So to me, like customer experience more of like how people feel about a brand. Okay, so it's not just limited to one department, as he said. It could be just looking at an ad, or it could be your friend or relative talking about the brand, or how social media where brands are being referred for so many things. So all these things overall, that everything around the brand creates a feel of the brand. So that is the result and that is the output of a customer experience from an outsider perspective.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So, Bharath, from you.
Yeah, I'll go with one of my favorite sayings, which goes like, as you get deeper and deeper about things, like as you get to specialize more and more about smaller and smaller things, you end up knowing everything about nothing. Like you are a doctor, then you are a heart specialist, then you are a pediatric heart specialist, and so on and so forth, right? You specialize so much that at one point you will know everything about nothing. From a work point of view also, all of us wear different hats. I'm a marketer, maybe I write some content, a product person churns out some feature, a support person handles the customer escalation, etc. So at some point, all of us try to become specialists, that we focus on that task that we do. But I think customer experience is putting the customer in every task that we do. Instead of getting lost that this is my specialization, this is my work, as a marketer, how can I write content that will communicate the benefits of my product to the customer? As a product person, how do I come up with features that put customer at the forefront instead of deciding what is convenient for me? In all aspects of our life or in an organization's department, how do we ensure we put customers at the forefront is what customer experience according to me.
Nice, very nice. I think this gives us different perspectives of what customer experience means future for us. Okay, so now that we do have a fair understanding of what customer experience is, I would want to build on that by asking you how customer experience has evolved over the years. So what do you think, how, particularly within your specific domain, because I think each one of us handle a domain. So within that domain, how has customer experience evolved over the years? So I think we'll start with Bharath in no particular order.
Yeah, so when you say your domain, I look at it in two aspects. So I'm a marketer who is selling or marketing, let's say, a developer-oriented product, a low-code platform. Or let's say generalize it as a technology product, right? So as a marketer, how things have evolved from my side also, as a marketing side also is, let's say for example, SEO is a very important aspect to generate leads. And there were times where you write a content in such a way that you put as much keywords inside, you stuff as much keywords inside so that you do not worry about whether the user who comes to the page gets value out of the page, but your focus is on ensuring that you rank first on Google SERP, search engine ranking page, and you get as much leads as possible. Like that, even events, the focus that, okay, we go to an event, ensure that we we surround the customer, ensure that we generate enough leads, etc. I think all of those aspects have changed over time. Maybe because I'm biased, maybe because I'm working in a setup like Zoho, where we put the customer experience at the front in the sense that it's okay for a customer to walk in, let's say physically to your booth in an event or to your website, read, understand what you offer, take the gift that you have, let's say at the event booth, and go on without becoming a lead or becoming a prospect for you. So marketing, I see, has evolved in such a way that instead of focusing on squarely just on outcomes and ROIs, putting customer, saying, okay, I will add value to the customer, and if he is really the right audience for me, he will give me a benefit or he will give me the ROI. I think that's the change that has happened from the marketing side. Purely from a tech point of view, I'll keep that short. I represent a low-code platform, so where I have seen purely from a customer experience point of view again, where these platforms used to be tools where you can build toy applications, but now we have realized that customers expect more and more. I think that applies to all the products that we have here, where we are ensuring that we keep the simplicity at the core, make it easy, but also at the same time provide as much benefits to the customer so that they get maximum value out of it. So I think that's how we are evolving from the user experience point of view.
Exactly, yeah. I think it's that starting point of, whether you're signing up to a product, you're starting to use that product for your business. We want to make things easy for everyone, as easy as possible. For example, what I come from, the product that I handle probably has some of the most important aspect of a company, right? So we deal with emails and messages and files and stuff like that. So a lot of times what happens is people want to start getting, implementing this product as soon as possible. So we make sure that there's enough, migration support available. There's a lot of people, available on calls. For example, we do have like a 24/7 support service that we provide, so that whenever people get stuck somewhere in between, there is enough, hand-holding and there's enough help available, so that quickly kind of, helps you get on board, start using the product as soon as possible. Like Bharath said, right? So making that friction as much as, reducing the friction as much as possible for the users to start off with is actually a very big evolution of what we've seen in terms of, customer experience as well.
Yeah. So that basically there is now more power to the customers or even the prospects. So let's say 10 years ago, the way people did research, there was like Google, and you just went to Google and did your customer research on your analysis and all. But now there are so many multiple channels. There are your family WhatsApp groups where people talk about stuff. There are Instagram where you sit with a reel and you come across some 10 or 20 brands by just sitting for half an hour, and sometimes it's so attractive that you do end up even buying something when you look at that reel. So there are just so many mediums now where the customer can do the research. So there is a pressure on marketing, or I would say a challenge, that you need to also now be in all those channels. You cannot afford to not be on LinkedIn. We don't believe in LinkedIn. You cannot say that, because people are on LinkedIn. You cannot say that I don't want to do Instagram marketing. I don't think Instagram is cringe. You cannot say that, because people are in Instagram. So basically the prospects or customers are in multiple channels, and they don't make the decision immediately. One interesting thing is we have this attribution tracking now. Like somebody comes to a website, you have that navigation summary, and we try to do this attribution of this is going to direct, this is going to that. But whatever we see as direct on our website might have been because of something they saw 3 months ago. That you posted a video sometime, they registered in their head, and then they went on to see some YouTube videos over 3 months, and finally they came to your website, which will be recorded as a direct attribution, but it is actually because of something you posted somewhere. So that way it has evolved in such a way that you have to now be in every channel where the customers are visiting so that your brand is visible there.
Exactly.
So
like that echoes what Bharath said as well. Like before it was just what works, I'm going to do this, and now I'm not going to do this. We measure every single thing. But right now it's more about giving that value, spreading your brand as much as possible, and then people will eventually turn up.
yeah, and marketing itself is not just about lead generation now. It also goes beyond. And in fact, in SaaS marketing, it is even harder because it's not a one-time sale. You want that person to keep repeating and keep paying. So he needs to be consistently happy, which means you have to, as a marketer, be in touch with the product on what the complaints are, what needs to be developed. You need to be in touch with the sales and enable the sales team with whatever they require to close a deal. So the marketing doesn't end with lead generation. It is actually everywhere. So I would say the entire team together is now a revenue generating team or a customer happiness team.
Okay, so I think we heard a lot about
Yeah, so-
marketing. And
Yes, exactly.
We have cornered him.
I could see that you have went so deep in the marketing perspective of customer experience. I just want to look back, 10, 15 years, what we do in Zoho. It was only like development team and support team, right? So all about customer experience is to fix bugs, addressing their concerns, right? And we know like expectations, grew beyond, what we thought it will grow, right? It is not just, accessing a product and reporting bugs and get it sorted out. It is beyond that. And people want to associate and character to the brand, character to the product. So they want to, build trust on the brand. So it's not just customer support, solves it. And then, slowly we evolved to do more of a guidance to the customer. It's not just fixing bugs. It is about guiding someone to do a purchase or, process a returns effectively without any delay. So all those things we did. It's more of a customer service, just a step after customer support. And then
Success.
Yeah. So and then again, like it's still not enough. So customer happiness or customer experience should be right from the first interaction with the brand, as long as they stay with us. So that is when we have expertise in everywhere. Like we have people in marketing, and then for lead development we have people, and then to do a perfect demo we have pre-sales, and then we have people to onboard them successfully to make sure that the initial successful actions have been completed. And then we have a very strong customer support team who is there to address any problems the customer faces. And that is how we evolved as a brand here. Now that we could see the results, we have our own value. We have created our own value because we are there everywhere. If someone has a problem and they are in WhatsApp, they know how to reach Zoho. Someone is in Instagram, they have a problem with Zoho Mail. They have they can reach as they could reach their friends and family. So that level of, I would call it as a 360-degree coverage we have given for the customer. So that is the evolution we have come.
Basically, every team across, from the product team to the customer support team to the marketing team, should be concerned about the customer.
Yep.
I think the goal is now the
Yeah.
same. Yes.
It reminds me of an interesting call I had recently with Flipkart support. Yes, it is. I find it funny now to think about it. So I had to exchange a product and something was happening, nothing was moving. So I called the customer support line and she spoke, asked me all the details, and finally, usually all these calls end in, we have transferred it to the concerned team. So I asked that person, do you mean you are not concerned? So, are you the unconcerned team and they are the concerned team? So that is that little experience there, right? To say that I have transferred it to the concerned team makes me feel like you are not concerned. Now I'm transferring it to the concerned person. So maybe a little coaching to that person saying that we have escalated it would have made it easier. But to say I have transferred it to the concerned team, I ask her, are you not concerned? So.
Very true. I think recently we were talking about how, since you pointed out a lot of examples from social media, so we recently had a discussion on how B2B and B2C social media is slowly changing, and we're all getting into the same space. So there's no more the distinction between B2B and B2C. So it reminds me of that. Okay, great. Okay, so we just take to the part where we're talking about our specific areas. So I just want to add a question to that. So now that we've talked about how customer experiences evolve, can we also talk about its importance in these specific areas that we have also covered now?
When it comes to marketing, I think marketing now needs to try and be as personalized as possible when the customer starts their journey. You cannot be very general in the messaging that you have. So at least for Zoho One's case, it's anybody about any product can be interested and come to Zoho One. So maybe we need to get some ground understanding of what are they looking for, and when we communicate to them, understand that this person is interested in these 4 products and personalize the message that is being sent for that particular case. So that personalization, I think, also is misunderstood generally in marketing. So when we talk personalization, people think, oh, that guy is interested in cricket, so we can send a mail saying you must be a CSK fan and he will buy it. That's not personalization. So the personalization is about what problem is he looking to solve. That is the matter, and not about that person and his life itself. So I think that is an important part in marketing to try, and it's very difficult to solve. How to be exactly, what is the right personalization? How do we go about it? So yeah, that is my take, to be as personalized as possible from the time somebody visits to the first welcome mailers he gets and the communication that happens from the first person. That context needs to be maintained about what is this guy's problem, what was his previous call. So now that I am going to communicate to him, now I am loaded with this information, so let's talk about that specifically. So that will give him a very personal feeling that these people really care and they are looking into my situation. And it's not just a general message that here is an operating system, now just believe it and take it.
Yeah. I think you're also part of a bundle, so your take on this?
Like a couple of things, okay. So to start off with, like I said, the setting up of your realistic expectations, right? For example, we deal with emails and files, okay, and then you want to move from like another vendor that you're using onto Zoho Workplace or Zoho Mail. To start off with the prices, okay, we've seen it's a common practice, especially in the market, to kind of give you a discounted price for the first year, and then as you grow, especially with emails, you don't keep changing your email systems, right? Once you are in, you're there for at least 5 to 6 years. What happens usually is that they look at these prices, like, okay, wow, this is so attractive, this is the affordable prices and all that. And then they like, after 1 year, now they're stuck with more prices. Then probably they start with X and then now 10X the prices that they started off with all the additional maintenance, the additional prices, and the per user price itself kind of changes after the first year. That's kind of a common practice in the category that I work with. So we've made sure we'll never do that. Okay, even if the customer is calling and say this vendor is giving us so much storage and so much mails for this price, that's like 60% or 70% cheaper than you are, we will like, yes, but then what happens after the first year? What happens after the second year? So you kind of get locked into those prices on the first year and then make sure that you pay and end up paying more in the subsequent years. So we never do that. So that's one aspect that we made very, very sure that we never do that in our, especially for Zoho Workplace. Another area is, like I said, this is a very evolving, like Jeri said, it's never ending, right? So especially with emails and migration, and I want people to expect everything to be there when I move from my previous vendor to Zoho Mail. I want everything as I see as before, and then I want everything replicated here as well. So once you set those realistic expectations as, hey, these are the things that will be transferred well, these are the things that won't be transferred well, you actually can set up or let people know that, this is how my email inbox one is, end up looking like after I move it. And also, you make sure that you keep helping these people every step of the way, because the moment you get stuck in migrations, there's a huge problem, because mostly what happens is people go on, like on a Friday night, they go home. So on Saturdays and Sundays, the weekends, the IT team kind of sits on, does the migration. So when people come on Monday mornings, they usually expect the migrations to be done. And when they get stuck, we make sure that we have people to help every step of the way. So we have, of course, we have tutorials, we have help documents and everything. But then we started writing a different type of tutorials where, we take a use case and like how to do this, and if you are this kind of a company, and then we made sure that we have every type of content covered so that people are never stuck in any forms of the way. And of course, the 24/7 support across calls, like Jeri said, right? You have chats, now you have calls, you have mails, and if you want to meet us in person, that is also possible because we are almost everywhere. Yeah. So we make sure that touch point is there for people, in terms of getting stuck and getting need of a help. So we make sure that that's always there in terms of my product. Yeah.
Okay. So Jeri, from a product perspective.
Yeah. So, see, choosing a feature to develop, that is where like it starts on the product development. So, are we taking a feature for a growth hack or a business perspective, or are we taking a feature for benefiting a lot of customers? So it starts from there. So we pick a feature which actually benefit customers. There are a lot of pushes, or I would call pressure from competition or pressure from latest tech. We have to move, right? A lot of cases, people take up some user interfaces, change it drastically just because there was a trend now. They don't think of like how much it is going to impact the regular user who is going to look into the application the next day morning, right? So we are very careful on taking decisions in picking what to do, and then if at all we do something, right? How we roll out the changes. Are we giving a prior information? If at all it's a data change, so we send out emails to all the customers who may be expecting a change on a particular date. And if it is an interface change, so we do a quick onboarding tour where they can understand. So this is how you have been using so far, and this is how you will be using from today. So that we handhold them to, that is on the changes. And then for any customers who don't use the product, we don't wait till they leave us. We proactively reach out to them, and hey, like we observe that there is some slowness in the value you are getting from the product, and would you like us to help you with that? So to me, like each and every decision, as long as you think of your customer, I think you'll be good in product.
Okay.
So in essence, I think the way I have summarized it in my head is to pay attention more to user experience of the product than to just build features crazily.
Yeah, a lot of times we keep on building features, but you will not refine what you have already built, and you'll end up with like 1,000 features, and in the end, like you'll be having like 50 features used by your customers, and it gives, it adds the burden to both your development team and also to your customers, your marketers, your user education team, your support team. Just for like a 0.5% of users using a feature, you have to have a support team to support, resolve queries on that.
Yeah, so it's not about a laundry list of features being developed crazily, but to ensure that the user experience takes precedence in the product itself.
Exactly.
We have the 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
80% of the people only use 20% of the features.
Yeah.
So actually, in terms of change management that Jeri was mentioning, I think just as a tip, so to anyone watching, it's always nice to have a product expert, or whichever product that you're subscribing to. It's always nice to have a product expert in that company when you're moving to a new product. Like for example, we always strive to have Zoho champions when some people are moving to Zoho Workplace. So that, because imagine there are 10,000 people, suddenly they have a new inbox, suddenly they have a new file system and a chat system with Zoho Workplace. And then what we've made sure is that we have these Zoho champions within those companies, so that whenever they have a problem, before reaching out to us, they can actually reach out to someone amongst them as well. So change management can be handled through that as well. So we will make sure that we will train those Zoho champions within these companies so that change management becomes quick and easy. I just wanted to add that.
Nice. Okay. So Bharath, your input on that?
Yeah, so I think I have a slightly longer answer, but maybe I will ask the audience for a poll question and then come back. So, how many of you have heard of JTBD theory, jobs to be done theory? Show of hands, please. Okay, let's say 10% of the audience. So, I just want to explain that because that had a profound impact on me when I was growing up. So, Clayton Christensen is a Harvard professor, and he's well known for a couple of his books, Innovator's Dilemma and How Will You Measure Your Life. So while I was reading his books, I came across one interesting project that he did for one of the quick service restaurant. If I remember, it's something like a McDonald's or someone who came up to these professors and said, hey, we want to increase our milkshake sales. There are people who are coming to our store, they are buying milkshakes, and we want to increase the milkshake sales. So these Harvard profs, they came together, they introduced new flavor, new size, different things, but they realized none of it was working. So they decided, okay, let's not come up with our intellectual ideas, let's go and ask the customers. So they were surveying the customers, people who are purchasing from the store, on why are you buying this milkshake? What is the reason why you're buying the milkshake? Surprisingly, they realized the primary reason people are buying the milkshake was, this is in US, and US long travel is very common. So people used to travel for long hours in a car, and they wanted to have something for company. There, traveling alone is also very common. So they thought, instead of going alone, I will just have a milkshake in my hand, sip it whenever I want, keep it in the dashboard, and continue the journey. The interesting aspect was when the question of what will you buy other than this milkshake, the number 2 answer was bananas, not any other milkshake, any other flavor. So then they realized, okay, he finally summarizes the study to say, the job to be done by you, the customer is hiring you for a job to be done. What is that job to be done? If you understand it well, then you will be able to serve your customers well. Your question on why is it important? I think, let's say, all of us spoke about different examples, right? From a product, from a support, from a marketing point of view. If I know my target persona well, if I know my customer very well, and I write the right content for them, or I roll out the right feature for them, it is definitely beneficial for the customer because it is made for them, but it is also easy for me, it is better for me because it reduces unnecessary workload, it reduces unnecessary stress. Like Jeri mentioned, unnecessarily for 0.5% of the usage, you are having a separate team to handle the request, etc. So I think I would summarize the importance of customer experience as that, to understand why is the customer hiring you, what is the job you are doing for the customer, and then ensuring your efforts are in line with that.
So I think all of us touched base on the same pointer, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Okay. So let's move on to an in-house question. So how do we at Zoho do CX? So how do we take, I would like to specifically ask the strategies and the initiatives that we do at Zoho that we think will impact CX. How seriously do we take CX at Zoho? So we can start with Bharath on this. He's having a big smile.
No, I'm sure whoever answered this question will talk for more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's an open secret that we take whatever
CX
customer
primary.
says more seriously than whatever even the topmost people here say.
So I'll add, like there are some obvious truths that all of us know, right? Like for example, we run our own data centers, Zoho schools, almost 20% of our employees come from without a degree and all that. We run our own browser, Ula, etc. I tie all of this to user experience or CX, in the sense that the way I look at it is, the way I articulate it to customers is, are you guys crazy? Why are you running your own data center? Why are you trying to invent a browser? The answer I tell them is, as Zoho, we want to ensure that in your experience with our products, there are 100 things that will impact the experience. It could be a browser that doesn't work properly, it could be some storage issue, etc. So we don't want to tell you, when you come to us for a problem, we never want to tell you that, hey, our application is working fine. Maybe your X hosting service provider, let's say AWS or something else is the issue, so you go and talk to them. Anything that will impact my customer experience, I want to be in complete control of that, because mostly people think there is a cost benefit that is associated, which is true as well. That is also an immense benefit to the customer. But I think our philosophies go deeper than that. It is not just about the cost. It is ensuring that if there are 10 things that will impact my user experience with respect to my product, I want to be in complete control of all those 10 things so that I serve the customer better. In a nutshell, I think that is how we take CX as serious as possible.
There is a method to the madness, I'd like to put it that way. So people ask, are you mad? Why are you doing this? Why are you in so many things like what Bharath said? I think there's a method to madness. What each of the things that we do. So we closely follow what the things that we do, why we launching this thing right now versus not 5 years ago. You know that there is a method to this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jeri, your pointer on this?
Right.
Yeah. So, see, we are doing a lot of things to have a common face, though we have 60 plus applications, in the company. We have a common website, we have a common style, common navigation pattern. So we drive leads for each and every product individually. But then once they discover a product, how they could, discover the other products has done so nicely. If you see the customer support, right, we have a central customer support system. So I end up having a issue with mail, and I also have an issue to be sorted out in SalesIQ. Now it's as simple as just a transfer. Customer doesn't feel any it's not like SalesIQ toll free number is this, disconnect this and connect that. It's not like that. So we have set up the support department in such a way that it is the staffs are well trained on the product, but they follow the common process, common tools. Similarly, we are doing a lot of unification on the product development as well. We are building components. We are coming up with design systems so that customer finds the apps more or less similar. The common interfaces like configuring something or navigating to another application. All these things we are trying to unify. So a lot of areas on the product front we are trying to unify. We are just getting started, I would say. But on the customer-facing departments, wherever you have, right? So we have we want to give a seamless experience across the product with both depth and also easy access for the customer across the functions. Yeah.
Hari, your take?
Yeah, so I think they have pretty much covered most of what it is. But one thing that stands out to me based on my experience at Zoho events itself, wherever you go, you will generally hear the people who attend say that we feel a connection with your people. So usually corporate events, it's a presentation, a slide deck, somebody talks about a feature update and the CEO comes, gives a keynote and he goes away. There is a corporateness about it. But you ask any audience that comes to a Zoho user conference, they will say that we feel connected to your people itself. Like you are grounded, you are humble. That humility is what pulls us more than your products. We have products bugs and we have these complaints and all that, one-on-one sessions are all there. But the reason that they do show up at Zoho is because they are able to connect. And we do show in many aspects that what we are at is not profit, but our purpose. And the purpose is to enable businesses with technology. And that is what we want to do. From the small businesses to the enterprises, our purpose is to enable you and empower you with technology. And we are ready to listen to you. They feel listened to. That is more than very important in any place. Just the fact of just listening, just being there and listening to somebody rant for 10 minutes, that itself doesn't happen very commonly. And that's why Zoho is more than a user conference, it's a people conference. And we do put a lot of efforts in Zoho to regionalize it. Our transnational localism as a concept itself, again people say, what is this? What is this about and what is this philosophy? So again, that again ties us to how we want to appear as a company from that region. And it is going to take some time to figure it out. We have a central setup here to interact with different cultures, to understand them and work together. It is going to take some time, but we are functioning. And if you look at even the websites for all the Zoho, you will see that flavor there. The personalization, again, it starts from there. So we can understand what your region is and we are trying to adhere to that, and we acknowledge that. So that is where I think we surely are considered a very people company and a very customer caring company.
Definitely, plus one on that. Yeah, so I think as important as discussing the importance is also important to discuss the downside of something. So what are the pitfalls that businesses encounter when implementing customer experience strategies, maybe at the At the product level, maybe Jeri can tell us. Maybe at the marketing level, like Bharath or Hari or Rakeeb can mention. So I would like to know at the different levels what pitfalls do businesses face when implementing customer experience strategies. So, is that
Maybe I'll go first.
Yeah.
So a couple of things come to my mind immediately while others get time to think. One is, lot of this comes with a conviction, right? Like for example, for my product, I believe this is the audience, this is the customer. I have some anecdotal examples of people I met at some events, some conversations with support, etc. And then I frame a figure in my mind saying this is my ideal audience. Then accordingly, I do things for customer experience or enablement. If that assumption is wrong, if I don't understand that audience very well, definitely the initiatives that we do, all of it will definitely go for it. So that is the risk that we run. Second, and another important thing is, sometimes we may start to believe that my customer is looking for a product, we buy it and it will sell. May not be the right approach, right? Sometimes even at Zoho we do that mistake, that yes, you may have the greatest of products out there, but the customer experience part is not just the problem that you are solving at that moment, but the overall experience that you provide. How does he interact with your website? What is the conversation our sales has? When they come to us, how much we understand and pitch. I think sometimes customer experience gets very closely associated to product. That's my summary there. Because of which we tend to ignore other areas. So that is one challenge that organizations have to look out for when they think, okay, I am going to improve my customer experience. It is not just the core thing that the customer is interacting with you for. There are the other peripheral things that also need to be taken care of.
Okay. I think, Rakeeb, you can just pitch in on that
Yeah.
since it's going to be marketing.
No, I think for a change, I'll do some product.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He's taking a product now.
So actually, there's this thing that kind of lives in my head, I'd say rent-free for some time. Okay, so I saw this statistic on, I think it's on Google Play Store reviews and stuff like that. So 70% of the people who's given above 4 stars as a review to your app like it because of its speed and UX. So the entire aspect of your app being quick, speed, and speedy and just easy to navigate around is actually a huge factor in terms of product experience. That's something I think a lot of people don't kind of recognize or speak about much as well. Ever since that I saw that statistic, I was like, wow, that's actually true. The products I like using a lot of the experience that I use like a lot in terms of customer experience or support experience or even product experience is all because it's quick. Okay, we like WhatsApp notifications because it quickly lets me know what's the status and stuff like that. I like, doing, for example, I like what Jeri has done with Click a lot because a lot of the things that, this is not Jeri's not paying me to say this, but then I like a lot of the things they do because one, they're quick to implement something. There's a customer requirement, there's a speed of putting or shipping that to actual production, right? Zoho itself is actually one of the fastest companies that I know that kind of ships so many features, so many security updates and enhancements in probably in a month or so. There's so many updates that keep going out. And also the sheer speed of using a product. There's I think we have our own browser, but I also trying out a couple of other browsers. I've been trying out the Arc browser, for example, recently, and the number one thing that kind of attracted me was the speed of that browser. So yeah, I just wanted to say that from a product point of view, I think if at all there are product managers or product creators watching this, I think make sure that your app launches as fast as possible, ships features that people do as fast as possible, and also make sure that the experience itself is speedy, whether it's clicking buttons, making calls, going from one page to another. Yeah, just for a change, I thought I'll do the product.
Nice. Okay. Jeri, you have company.
Yeah, I think though it is just one point, I think it covers almost 80 to 90% of the experience we provide from the product to a customer. That is the performance. Okay. But other things, I would say that being an over customer centric product or a company, you have some downsides too. Say for example, I want to satisfy all my customers. Someone comes up with a requirement which is not aligned with my product vision. I just want to satisfy the customer, and I started implementing like this. When I grow, I'll end up, doing a lot of things, and it becomes a product without any clarity, focus. That is something we need to always, have in check. Second thing is like when you build a product, you have a lot of data points, right? So when you go too much obsessed about data points, that is also like you leave your customer, back. So generally, like specifically, I'm more into data-driven decisions I would like to take. But as I said in the beginning, customer experience is about how customer feels about your brand and product. It is very hard to drill down to metrics how someone feels about your product. So the best thing what business should do is like again coming back to put yourself in customer's side and also have your goal and focus in check. Yeah.
So, from you?
I think I would again try to pick on that personalization point. So one challenge that we ourselves are trying to address is, so we have these categories of businesses that sign up. So we have a large volume of small businesses, then we have the mid-market accounts where there is more number of heads inside the company. So if you take a 5-person company, maybe that's just one guy who majorly takes all the calls, but there will be a volume of some 30 companies like that. So when we do like tailored webinars, say for these 30 people, there might be these 10 people who cannot relate to that webinar content at all. So they are looking for something else. But the way you have to segment it and the webinars that you have to organize, I think it needs to be even more detailed. And so we are thinking of ways of what if we create self-paced learning courses so that people can come and pick what they want to see. Instead of saying, here is a scheduled webinar, this is going to talk about this, and people come in and drop off in 15 minutes because it's not relevant to them. So that relevancy of understanding the persona, the identifying who exactly your target audience is, what their needs are, it can take many different segments. So that hyper segmentation is something that can be very challenging. Maybe that is the reason why a lot of people might not be buying in, because you are probably not segmenting it the right way. So that is one pitfall. Another thing is about consistency of their experience with other departments also. Like I said in the beginning, marketing is now not just about lead generation. It continues to what is happening with pre-sales, what is happening with sales, what are they saying after they have signed up and in their onboarding, and to ensure that what those people talk about the product is consistent with what marketing has pitched. So we will have to have more meetings with the sales, maybe through the tool or in person or a combination of the two, so that you are always consistent across. Because sometimes it can get very inconsistent also. For very simple example is, so we call Zoho the operating system for business, but then the regional Indonesian people, when they joined as marketers, they simply started calling it ERP. We assumed that this is ERP software, so we will go with ERP software because it looks like an ERP software. So then we catch it and then tell them that, look, this is the core messaging of Zoho One. So we want to say we are something beyond even ERP. We are beyond that. And that is the piece that we want to say, so let's change this. Then we had to explain to them what we mean by operating system, that connect need to happen. So if we are not consistent across teams, that can also give a feeling that, look, these people are themselves working in silos and they are marketing to us a unified software platform. So yeah, that's another thing. Consistency across even department beyond marketing. Segmentation and consistency. These are my 2 points to this.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I think we've spoken a lot about customer experience as a whole now. So I'd like to add a factor to it that everyone almost talks about today, artificial intelligence. So how do
I was expecting this question. Where is the AI question?
Okay, so how do you think AI is shaping up customer experience today, and how is it expected to evolve in the future as well?
I think I'll just go first because I have this thing about AI. So see, what I feel is there is this lot of threat about AI is going to take our jobs, Skynet is coming and all that, but I feel that day is very, very far away. And personally, what I have noticed in ChatGPT is, though it does generate things in good prose, and it looks like it's a solid information, sometimes it is just bluffing, because it is just it's a generative thing at the end of the day.
Hallucinating.
Yeah, hallucinating. So I feel the way we should approach AI is to look at it as something that augments our job, maybe take away some of the grunt work that we do. So you want to create a first draft for a PowerPoint or something like that, then maybe AI can give you that first draft, but then the human is supposed to fine tune it to bring it to its final shape. So when it comes to marketing, the way I see AI playing out is it can maybe help in predictive analysis. So it can, instead of the marketer looking at an NPS survey or a customer satisfaction survey to make an Excel sheet of what is the sentiment and all that, maybe run that through an AI so that it can study that and give you this is the overall sentiment. So that cuts my research job in that way. So the predictive analytics is some place where I see AI playing out in marketing, and that way also offering some proactive support. Maybe when it comes to product, seeing some patterns of how people are using a particular product, maybe the AI can prompt that looks like you are using these features. Why don't you see a demo about this particular thing? That can automatically happen. So augmenting what we do as for work is where I see AI as an assistant, not completely banking on AI to be your end output itself, which is very dangerous actually.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, yeah. So you take the augmentation part, and then you add that with some context. I think what AI really does wonders is the contextual intelligence part of things. So that's why even at Zoho, when we talk about AI, we talk about context a lot than just the generative part of things. So you take the generative capabilities of summarizing something, or there's a huge chunk of text, you summarize this and then create a paragraph for you, and then you add the context part of a customer. For example, if you're a customer support executive, and you have this customer calling you for some issues, you can of course use the generative capabilities to summarize a lot of your help topics and then give them a quick 5-pointer steps to solve their issue. But with AI actually being a powerful contextual intelligence thing, what happens is that it actually kind of looks into the context of that particular user as well, right from your CRM data to your desk data and everything. And then you take that and then add that contextual prowess with the generative AI thing. That is, I think, the future where AI is really augmenting a customer support person, or in terms of marketing or anything, even in terms of product. You take that context part. Of course, with Zoho, we have the context in multiple touch points. We have the entire operating system actually built in, literally built in. So you take some context from that person's CRM, you take some context from that person's SalesIQ engagements, something like that. And then you understand what they've been doing so far. And then with that context, you're able to help that person a lot more than a usual person would do in like a couple of days. So that augmentation is quick. Okay, you're able to do something that you're doing 2 days in a couple of hours, or even in a couple of minutes even. So that really is where I think the future of AI in CX is going to. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I think it drills down to the same point that Hari said. There has to be a human behind what AI gives us. So, Bharath, you want to add something to this?
Yeah, as a technologies provider, as a software provider, I am hugely looking forward to the impact of AI. For example, one of the products that I represent, Zoho Create, which is a low-code platform, we are just rolling out a feature where users can prompt the system and generate the app that they want. So, I mean, already low-code itself is believed to be a technology that makes application development easier. Now, on top of it, we are adding another layer where we say, you just prompt the system with 2 sentences saying, I want an inventory management app for a 500 people organization managing as much as you are good with your prompt engineering. The system is able to actually throw an app with all the modules, different fields, defining the fields, interconnections, lookup fields, etc., different reports, charts, everything that you want. And now, as we speak, we are also looking at automating the workflows as well. You know that you are creating a purchase request app. You create personas and say that there will be a requester, there will be an approver, there will be a final approver, there will be a vendor. I strongly believe the potential of AI, especially in the technology side, is going to be immense. And like Rakeeb mentioned, understanding the context. So, like we have users who, let's say, collect feedback from a lot of their customers through some of our apps. Now, on top of these AI, maybe ML sort of capabilities that we provide, we are able to do sentiment analysis. We are able to parse tons of data and come up with this is the overall feeling of a discount coupon that you launched yesterday across all your 5,000 retail stores across the country. This is the feedback received from users. By just going through that multiple rows of data, but coming up with a single aggregated insight, I think it makes the whole user experience, since the theme is all about customer experience here, I think AI is going to definitely make the overall customer experience better. Yep. Yes, like Hari mentioned, we are quite far away from AGI, right? Like general intelligence is still not there. We are all taking some data, training the system, ensuring that someone can do the job that a manual person was done manually earlier. But even in that, I strongly believe that the potential is huge and AI will be a good positive impact for all of us.
Jeri, from a product perspective?
Yeah, so
or from
see,
an
I think,
engineer's perspective.
Sorry?
Or from an engineer's perspective.
Yeah, see, I think Hari clearly put, so we are just getting started in the AI front, but definitely things are feasible, it will happen. But now I would like to split into two. So one is you have a lot of data, precise data, and you want to make use of AI on top of it. And definitely there is a solid, amount of value you get from AI. Even there are a lot of different attributes. Let me give an example. Predicting someone when they will come for work. Okay, so we have an integration with the Zoho people, showing up probable check-in time for an employee. So it's as simple as like getting an average of the last 5 check-ins and show up, but it doesn't work that way. It should know the employee's behavior. Probably the employee will be going out for his native on Friday. So all the Fridays he'll be having a different check-in time. He'll come early and he will leave early, right? And again, like it doesn't stop there. There could be some vacation. The employee could be on some shifts. Probably this month he'll be working on a newer shift and the other month he'll be working on a different shift. So there are lots of dimensions you have to add to the data you feed to the AI system to have more precise or more quality on the results you get from the AI. So the more attributes, valid attributes you add to the system, you get more precise data. That is on the data points. So other known as the generative AI we have been talking about. So we have done so much on SalesIQ on having an automated bot which can learn from your articles and throw answers. And there are a lot of, so one is like we can have a totally unsupervised AI which can result in giving a wrong commitment. I think you have heard about a lawsuit where a bot gave a wrong commitment to a customer, and the customer sued the company because of the commitment given by the bot. Because on the other end, it's not a human; it's a bot, but it is consumed by the end user who thinks it's coming from a company, coming from a business, right? So that is where like it's very we are getting started, so we have to be very careful on using this generative AI. From SalesIQ perspective, we have done more of a supervised learning, where we give only the training data could be something entered by or like inputted by the business, not just crawling somewhere or taking the universe as the data or learning from the customer interaction which has already happened. And it is not, it doesn't end there, because like it needs consistent refinement. So whenever a bot couldn't answer a question and that shows up as an unanswered questions for the technical writer who can go and refine this and then make the bot to answer more questions. So that is something we are getting started, but I think we can do that to an extent. So in my opinion, there are few things which AI cannot do. Something like building trust. Only a human can do, right? Say for example, I want to make a purchase of a big value purchase. I'm not going to just listen to an AI and then like make a commitment on that. And second thing I would say is like empathy with the customer when things goes wrong. And there is an incident and the customer shouts at a bot and the bot keeps on telling the same without knowing the frustration.
We have all experienced that.
Yeah.
Frustration increases.
Yeah. So I think that those areas we definitely need humans to handle. Probably like high volume, low value business could use AI more to direct customer interaction. High margin business probably will use AI as an assistant, as Hari nicely put. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think we've spoken a lot of theoretical things till now. So we'll move on to some practical examples, some real world examples that you can all share with us. Some stories or examples that brands have implemented and which showcase excellent customer experience strategies. So something that you can all share with us. I think that would add great value to all the explanation that we have done till now. So,
Examples of other brands that impressed us or something.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Not ours, but others.
It can be ours as well. It can be ours would be the top ones. Now that we've spoken so much, so we can start with ours. And then maybe other brands also can be.
Not that Jeri is here, but actually for our own Zoholics demos of Zoho One, so we have realized that it's best to start by showing SalesIQ.
Okay.
Because it gives that personal interaction of people seeing themselves as those circle of rings, right? So that is thanks to that functionality, it gets everyone interested. So we open it up and we say, oh, load this URL, then the flags start coming up and everyone is like suddenly alert.
Yes.
So that is very engaging. It's very engaging, and to say that, okay, who did this? Who is that? And somebody raises the hands there, and so that way I think SalesIQ, that rings, has impressed me a lot as a product. So when it comes to other brands, if I think about what are the brands that have recently impressed me, three things come to mind. So one is this shoe company called Neiman's. So they make shoes from plastic bottles or some sustainability theme. So I ran into their website on Facebook or Instagram, I don't remember, but it was very attractive the way they say the bottle comes and turns into a shoe, and this only costs so much, and I just registered, and after that they started WhatsApping me about, they'll just send a picture of a bottle, then I'll open the message to why they are sending a picture of a bottle, then it'll turn into a shoe. So that whole interaction was, it made me to finally buy that product. It is very good quality. So the way they tied my behavior, it was over maybe 1.5 months that it took me from the ad to buying that shoe itself. So it means that they captured my attention for that long. The second one is this camera brand named Cubo. So I bought a home camera for my mother, to monitor my mother after the operation. Their support was, after sales support was very good. Like, is the camera well? Are you able to see the night time well? And I actually had some complaints to make, and they in fact sent a replacement. They said, you will use the replacement, if it is working well, return the original product to us. So it is unbelievable that some company would do that kind of an after sales service.
Okay.
And recently I have been trying to use Duolingo, the app to learn Japanese for an upcoming Japanese presentation, and the way that app is so hooks you up to learn that language. They have this booster feature or something. The whole experience of how they make you learn, it's very addictive actually. So even while walking, I'm now trying to open it up and quickly finish one round. So yeah, those three examples come to mind in terms of customer experience.
Very interesting.
I actually have a couple of colleagues of mine who now speak Spanish really well. Though they have never gone to Mexico, they've never gone to Spain or anything. They now speak Spanish really well because Duolingo was that addictive. Actually, a really good example.
Yes, okay. So Jeri, from you, any brands that stand out?
Yeah, I think within Zoho, I can keep adding. I really love Mail, Click, SalesIQ. But I want to talk about how great experience comes from the product. Being involved in the making of SalesIQ. So one is Hari said about the rings, right? So in fact, we have a patent, received for showing real-time customer stats on the on a staged manner. So we tried some 23 prototypes on how to show customers real time. So we came up with a maze, we came up with more of a snake and ladder game, right? And then this rings, and we thought being a business app, so we should not be too much of gamification, but then there should be some real time feel to the product. And in fact, we took a long time. It's very simple to show this on a list view, right? But then that effort we took, and as Hari said, right, when we show up in an event, people though they don't know about the product in depth, the first thing they tell, wow, so what is this, right? So that is one thing. I think it went through all the product. You see Zoho Mail, it is simple to the best, right? It's best because it's very simple and it just works. Right? You will not find any problem with the app. So I can keep adding like Creator. We have Zoho Flow. We have Desk. A lot of products in Zoho, but I'll pick two big or rather successful products which everyone will know. One for the in-store experience, I would call, that is Apple, right? If you make a purchase on an Apple, so the moment you make the payment, how they follow up with the scheduled pickup, and then how they notify, and it will not take more than 2 minutes actually to pick up the product. Whatever store you go, how big the store is, there will be one person waiting for you right away to just deliver the product to you. And we all know about the quality of the product they deliver, the user experience and stuff like that. But this in-store experience in Apple is something like a really, on that scale they are operating. That's one thing. The second product I would pick from a digital experience perspective, that is Amazon. You have an all-in-one app. You find everything in Amazon. But with that scale, they have a very fast delivery. They have a, no strings attached return policy. You see like people in my team, always they have returns. They, if they want to buy a product, they'll choose 4 and they'll return 3. And they have they have that, I would call it as a tolerance level because they get a lot of business from those people. And you talk to a customer support and you will never feel that your queries are not answered. Yeah. You'll always see like they go beyond your expectation. And to me, like, I rarely like return products. They'll not ask anything about that. If you say that you have a problem with the product, the first thing they'll do is like, how can I resolve it for you? You want cashback, or you want return, or you want replacement, right? So I think on digital, especially on the e-commerce, I think they do extremely well.
Okay, great.
So I'm just thinking of brands that I, let's say, recommended to someone in the recent times. So one is Skechers. My shoe size is US 13, so I don't get it as easily in many places. But Skechers has a good collection of shoes for large foot people, so that was one. I use an app called Elevate, which is a brain training app. Simple max English sessions every day, like Duolingo. Let's say if Duolingo is for language, this is more for keeping yourself updated with practical max and practical English. So we have a group. I actually learned it from Rajendran from Zoho School. So, but then I have my own group now. We have a streak. So I have a 1,100-day streak and so on and so forth. So that is one. There is an interesting, not a survey, but a real-time feedback sort of a tool called Mentimeter. That I think is coming across very useful during events. So let's say you are addressing an audience of 100 people and you just want them to open up a link and add some feedback, and you can project it real time on the screen and build conversations on top of that. So that is something that I have been recommending to people as well. Like one interesting thought that came to my mind when Jeri was talking about Amazon is, my personal feeling is tech products, especially let's say an Uber. Like Uber has had very nice positive moments for me and really pathetic experiences for me. Same with Amazon, some amazing experiences and some very bad experiences. What I think is, whenever technology meets people, the people can either elevate the experience or bring down the experience. I think that applies to Zoho as well. You may have an amazing product, but based on the person that you talk to, how motivated he is, what happened at his home that day, will determine how he is going to treat the customer that day. So I think that I felt is very interesting, because tech as such is consistent, but the people who work on it or who provide that service to the customer, I think they will either elevate or bring down the experience of tech.
Talking about extremes, I actually have a very boring example. Is of a bank. Okay. So when you talk about banks, people mostly just yell at banks because most of them have a lot of bad experiences. But I think recently my wife had like a new debit card that was registered, and we were trying to make an online purchase with that card. So for some reason, I think we had not enabled that online purchase. You had to go to the bank setting, and then like typically what you had to do is you had to go to the website of that bank and then log in and then enable your online commerce.
I think it needs to be disabled by default now.
Yeah, it is disabled by default, So as soon as I tried with this bank, with this card, it sent me a failure message on my wife's WhatsApp. So again, WhatsApp being a very useful this one for this. So instead of asking me to like sending me a link to go to their app and then do this, log in and do that, they actually asked me, do you want to change, do you want to enable it right now here? Okay, with the guided conversations inside of WhatsApp. I think that's possible through the SalesIQ integration as well. So plugging SalesIQ here. It immediately asked me whether you want to do that or not. I was like, yes, and I think it asked me how much limit I want, and like I just answered, and then that's it. In probably less than 20 seconds, I've enabled it. Otherwise, what I had to do is go log into my bank's account and then figure out where, all banks have horrible UXs, and then I have to figure out where this feature is, enable it, and then go back and all that. So this was one amazing, I think, customer experience feature that I think people don't appreciate banks enough for. Probably I'll do that here. Another was the Arc browser thing that I have recently. I was just trying it out. I think that it's been absolutely amazing, especially with a lot of the things that they've put in through in terms of multi-window features. The moment you just install the app, the kind of entire screen lights up with glows out with different options and everything. Is like, wow, is this even possible technically? Like I was thinking from a product side, like how are they doing this? Like how are they decorating the Mac window completely? And like how is Apple allowing this and stuff like that? But then it's an amazing thing. Again, speed, like in terms of what they've executed, amazing speed. Every website just loads quicker than ever and stuff like that. So yeah, these are two of the examples that I had.
Okay. Thank you so much for
Awesome.
that. And with that, we're done with our questions. So I personally had a very great time talking about customer experience with all of you. I hope you all had the same experience as well, supporting the topic here again. So yeah, so with that, we'll come to the end of the session. So again, thank you so much all of you for joining us, and to the audience as well.